Why are mummies rare? Well, because we ate them. Hey everyone, this is No Signal and I'm Sig, and I'm also delighted to be the one to tell you that we'd have a lot more mummies if people weren't jerks. In continuing their time-old tradition of respecting no one and nothing, medieval Europeans did indescribable things to the dead, which I'm going to describe to you in detail. To start off, let's talk about the origins of this craze. Mumia is an Arabic word that refers to the ingredient pisifalt. Pisifalt was natural asphalt or pitch that in its crudest form had the texture of cold molasses. Pisifalt, however, should not be confused with tar, which is the dense liquid resulting from dry distillation and pyrolysis of organic hydrocarbons that are mainly found in vegetation masses and coal. This definition, however, was thrown out the window in translation. During the Crusades, medieval European medicine adapted mumia into their practices but made the grave mistake of thinking mumia referred to actual mummies. This confusion kick-started the practice of buying mummies, grinding up some of their body parts, and mixing them with palatable items to ingest them. This is only the bare bones of this issue, though. Europeans' fascination with messing with the dead while they were meant to rest in peace went as far as hosting unwrapping parties, which proves that people have been doing the same shit since the beginning of time. The first one to turn unwrapping mummies into a performance was Thomas Pettigrew, so yes, he was essentially the first YouTube unboxer. Merchants began selling the new mumia as a cure-all. If you had a skin disease, you'd eat the skin of a mummy. If you had a headache, you'd eat the skull. It was also used as an aphrodisiac, which is a supposed substance that increases sexual desire. That's right, people thought that eating ground-up bones of the dead would help them get it on. If you ask me, they needed to get a handle on their problems. And they did, after a lot of time. Egypt banned the shipment of mummies in the 16th century, but that did not stop shady European apothecaries. To keep the business alive, these apothecaries began to embalm and desecrate fresh corpses to get their fix of mummies. But as the last few real mummies in supply began to dry up, Europeans realized that mummies aren't a renewable resource? Imagine that. Scholars during the Renaissance proved that there was a translation error in the word mumia to actual mummies, and as Europeans found eating dead people as vitamins suddenly disgusting, it seemed like a good place to stop. But of course, they didn't. A famous oil paint called Mummy Brown was made from the remains of both human and feline mummies. Mummy Brown, a transparent paint great for all of your flesh tones, stained glass, glazes, shadows, and shading. May be susceptible to cracking, variable in quality due to ammonia and fat, and also made from dead people. Mummy Brown was used in many pre-Raphaelite paintings, but it began to fall out of popularity in the 19th century when people learned that Mummy Brown was made of actual mummies. What will the apothecaries take away from us next? Cocaine cola? I meant Coca-Cola. I should probably cut them some slack because this was during a time when Google wasn't readily available, but I feel like common sense— I'm just kidding. They've been pushing the common sense since BC, but we still have Redditors yelling at doctors with decades of education and experience about how vaccines give their children autism. One pre-Raphaelite artist, Edward Burne-Jones, even buried his tube of Mummy Brown in his backyard upon the discovery of its contents. I appreciate the idea, but it has been purchased and now those remains have been buried a second time, but this time by an artist. I can only hope that when the mummy that was alive, they didn't have a hatred for art. That would be quite a letdown if they knew who was burying them the second time. Despite the decrease in demand, Mummy Brown could still be purchased until the 1930s. The 1930s. You could purchase dead people in tubes during the Great Depression, and they say art is pain. Modern-day Mummy Brown is composed of kaolin, quartz, goethite, and hematite, but because of the mass amount of hematite which makes it red, it's usually called Mummy Violet. Personally, I think we should just drop the mummy part so that we don't have any further confusion, but I guess you never know what the apothecaries can manage to sneak in. Now, as this video comes to an end, please remember to double-check the products you buy, and don't disturb the dead. Now that that's done, I have a headache, so I'm going to go enjoy some Ad Villager. Make sure to like the video if you liked it, obviously. Comment topics you'd like to see in future videos, and come back next week if you want some more No Signal. This has been No Signal. I'm your host, Sig, and I'll see you next time. You should appreciate that I didn't go as far to say boner. I feel like that needs to be appreciated. I could have made that pun.
Yeah, you could have. I still would have probably just been disappointed.
By what?
Me.
Modern day Mummy Brown is composed of Carlin, Quartz, I need to know those words before I say them.
Yep.
I've actually told the story of Mummy Brown because everybody hates it when I say it so often that I think my sister's sick of it.
No.
No, you're not? You like Mummy Brown?
I mean, I don't like it, but like I'm kind of used to it at this point. Like I'll randomly just bring it up for people to talk about, like the number 17 and foot fetishes.
Oh, please don't bring up. I haven't even done a video on the number 17 yet.
That's the next episode.
That's the next episode.